Hey, happy April.
Yeah, I'm excited. I feel like things are picking up. It's in motion.
The spring is definitely in full swing.
Yes.
We're seeing some nice little plants coming up from the ground.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Lots of people are wanting to buy houses.
Or sell.
Well, not as many wanting to sell
Well, I think it's interesting because I think there are a lot of people we're working with right now that are wanting to sell, and I think that their timeline's a little off. Like they're like, oh, let's list in July.
Right.
You know, and it's like, let's not, because that's not going to be a good time. No, it's kind of a takeaway for anyone who is thinking of selling in the future. Like January is the time to start prepping.
Right.
That listing, because you want to be on the market in March when no other homes are on the market. Now in the next month we're going to see a bunch come on.
We are going to see a bunch come on, and then we're going to have even more competition. But what do we tell those people that are saying, like, I want to put my house on the market but I don't have anywhere to go? Like that's where I feel like they're having the biggest issues. But we do have options for that I think most people don't specifically understand.
Yeah, I mean, if you have somewhere to go, that's one thing, that's great. But if you need time to find somewhere to go, there are options to, you know, make it a contingency to you finding housing, or, you know, at the same time we can help refer you to a great agent in whatever location you're relocating to, and get you set up on a search. That way, you know, everything will move and flow the way it needs to, and not have you homeless, because that's never going to happen.
Right.
We're never gonna put you in a position where you're homeless.
Talks to what we've been seeing in the market, and it also changes kind of like our perspective from what we were talking about a few months ago, because a few months ago we were talking about prices potentially coming down, and I actually had seen a news article this morning that was like, home prices raised for the first time in like such and such months, and I was like, you know, that may be a national headline, but here, like, we've been seeing price appreciation for the past few months.
Right. I think, well, it's so interesting. I kind of want to look back on our videos in October and November, because I just think of a buyer that we had under contract in Sanford, and we went under asking, and we got it accepted. By like, it was under asking by like $25,000. We did inspection. You know, nothing, of course, at that point. That was it. Like, we just went under asking and we got the offer accepted, but we almost thought that we were going to be in a buyer's market, but then January came and it completely sprung back to the seller's market. And we're going to be in a seller's market, I think, this whole season.
Yeah, no doubt. So I mean, it's certainly great for people that do want to sell their home, but thinking about different outside the box options, one thing that I think we both talk about, but we sometimes may forget to bring this up to people, we have the quick buy option that is an option for potential sellers to either get an instant offer on their home, so have that as a backup in case maybe they don't sell their house in that specific time frame that they need, so they're able to maybe get an offer from this company to buy their house, and then that way they have the cash in their pocket to buy the other home that they need to, or if they're doing new construction, that helps with that too, or they can also lease back the home for a certain period of time. I mean, it's not free to lease back the home, of course, it does certainly cost, there's certainly a fee to it, but it definitely helps you to position yourself in a better way to get your offer accepted on the back end. So I guess the point of what I'm trying to say is you have options. Let's discuss them, because everybody's scenario is a little bit different.
Right, exactly. That could work for some people out there, and that could also not work for some people, which is fine. And it's just a matter of knowing what your priorities are as a seller, what you need, and what your end goal is, and then of course we can help you get to where you want to be. Yeah,
but don't don't hold off just because the scenario, just because you're not ready on where to go yet. Let's figure out that plan, because we don't want you to miss getting as much money as possible for your home.
We actually had someone say to us at a listing appointment recently, if appreciation is just going up, then why don't I just hold on to my house and rent it? What would you say to that? I think that's such an interesting question to be asked on the spot.
So I guess it depends on what your long-term goals are, in my opinion, because yes, prices are definitely going to keep appreciating. I mean, if you were to look back 3 or 4 years ago, everybody that sold their house definitely, and in that time we thought that we were in a great scenario. I'm thinking of a person that I knew that lived in Newcastle, that they sold their house somewhere around 800, and it's probably worth over like $1 million now. And it depends on your scenario. You definitely can get rental income coming in, which is terrific, and then you're getting that income and your property is appreciating. So if that's a scenario that works for you, that is great, but there are sometimes
contingencies to that. Like, are you flying here to check on your home that you own and you're a landlord?
Yeah,
or is it down the road?
Yeah,
like,
I think if you're close, it's more convenient for you. Otherwise, if it's just one property, maybe it's a little bit easier. But also tenants don't take as good a care of your home as you do. So there's probably going to be I keep saying that. There's probably going to be some sort of an expense on the back end, like if you do ever decide to sell, like maybe refinishing the floors, repainting, all of those things, like normal wear and tear things, but tenants are a little bit rougher on your home than you are because they don't own it. So
they don't really care.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting to think about all the scenarios because we got asked that question.
No, that's a great question.
It's a good question because it's like, of course homes are going to appreciate over time, but what's your scenario right now and what do you need? Are you relocating to another state? Are you planning to come back? Are you gonna move down the road? Are you in the same town? Like, there's so many questions to follow up with that question because that will help us determine if you should be renting it or if you should be selling your home.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, I'm a big proponent for investing in real estate. I mean, I'm a real estate investor myself, so I definitely do agree that if you can afford it and if it works well for you, it's an awesome situation. Definitely, it's the best and easiest way to build wealth in this country. Not easiest because it's not easy per se, but it's also not hard. But well, I mean, it's simple, right? It's like you just provide a good home for people to live in. But I mean, there are a lot of things that go along with it. So
it's not easy. It's not hard. It's somewhere in the middle.
What would you say to buyers right now who are frustrated? Because we have a couple of buyers who have made a significant number of offers on homes, and we keep missing out on them. And we're doing our best. But like, do you have and for the other buyers out there too, all of the hundreds of people that are watching us.
Hundreds. I would say
the 5 people.
Yeah. I would say my thing to say to clients in those moments where you're frustrated and you've been putting in multiple offers and you feel like you're giving your best and it's not paying off. I always say, like, stay the course because there are going to be homes that come on like in the next day, the next week. So if you stay the course, like, something will work out the way it's meant to for you. I do think it's our job as agents to research and find data on, like, okay, how many offers were there for this one that we put an offer in on? How many, is there a backup position? Any information on what the offers had in them. It's good to talk and get as much information as we can for the benefit of our clients, so that way we're positioning them best next time.
Right.
And like we obviously always position our clients the best that they can and the best that we know how. But I think always following up with questions, having real data to share with clients, and then also just motivating them to stay the course because it's not meant to happen. It's like whatever is going to work out is going to be meant for you. Like there's a piece of it that's like you kind of have to just go with the flow with it, and you just have to trust the process. And of course, like, do your research and know what you didn't do so you can do it next time. Because
this market is changing so much, you know what I mean? Like, especially because what we were saying in October is entirely different from what we're saying now.
Yeah.
Or like what we were expecting. And the challenge that I think that I'm running into as I'm like pulling the comps and stuff is like the data from 3 months ago is still not good enough. We need data from like 1 month ago or like even less. But getting the feedback from agents on like kind of like what one had an offer that we had submitted over the weekend that we didn't end up getting, but the agent did tell us that it was a higher offer price and a larger appraisal gap. And the good thing I think for us to know is that we did the best that we could have. Like, we put in as high of an offer as we could, and we put in as much of an appraisal gap as we could. So we're doing like all the right things. It's just that
there's a lot of buyers.
There's somebody who had more money.
And there's a lot of buyers. And like, you have to know going into a situation as a buyer, I'm going up against other people. You have to, like, we need to be honest with our clients and tell them there's going to be multiple offers on this property. Like, I haven't seen one house that I put an offer in on that there hasn't been another offer.
Right.
Like, that's just the situation that we're in. There's so many buyers out there.
And I think, and giving them our honest feedback on like what we think that the property is going to go to, like in the same situation from last weekend, like I did think that because of the condition of this property, that it had the likelihood of going like 20 to 25,000 over. We didn't have like the financial ability to do all of that. So we did our best, but you know, the buyers, I was talking with them, they're like, we do really appreciate hearing, you know,
Honesty.
what you think that the house would go for, because, you know, if we could do that, like maybe they would, or maybe they wouldn't, just depending on the scenario. But like exactly like what you're saying is like being upfront, being honest, of course, which is what we always try to do anyways, setting expectations and helping them and staying positive through the transaction and the scenario too, because it is frustrating and it is a bummer when we miss out, but there will be the right one that's going to come along.
Stay the course.
Stay the course, just not the golf course.
Okay, Dan.
My parents and my business partner and everybody's like, no, we love golf.